copy of today's training as well. But as far as questions, we'll hold that for the end. I'm going to share my screen today. We're going to wait till 1:05. We have about 5 to 7 people that have registered for today's training. For anyone that's jumping on right now, we're just going to hold the phone for a little while. Like I mentioned, we have about 5 to 7 people registered. And if in the chat box below, if you can just tell me that everyone can hear me all right and my level is okay, that would be greatly appreciated. Waiting on a few more people to hop on this training. I want to take you guys through today kind of a high-level overview of what we'll be talking about. And then at the end of today's training, I want to really open it up for a Q&A to kind of give you contextualized answers towards what you're facing in your Facebook ads journey right now. If you're on the call, just make sure that your mic is muted unless you are looking at physically asking a question. We'll leave Q&A to the very end of the training today. We're going to take you through a high-level overview on why to stop boosting posts. I'm going to take you through a theory that we have been launching with a lot of our client campaigns, and we've launched within our own agency. We're really practicing what we preach, this concept of one avatar, one offer. And then we're going to move into Facebook lead generation. After Facebook lead gen, we are going to be talking about targeting and then retargeting traffic and then conversions and targeting. So we're going to take you through a step-by-step process today, specifically on how to set this up for your business, what this looks like, and how you can get the results you're looking for, and the results that you're probably hearing about in the industry that's happening. So like I said, I'm going to wait till 1:05 today because I believe I'm waiting on a few people. This is a paid training, so I want to make sure that everyone has the ability to hop on today and to ask any type of questions that they want. I think we're waiting on 2 to 3 more people. So we'll wait for 1:05. In the meantime, while we're waiting for those next few people, are there any types of questions that you have right now within your Facebook ad journey? If you want to write those in the chat box, I can maybe answer some questions leading into the training. But if you don't, we'll just hold out till 1:05. I'm just going to go through that one more time, just kind of what we're talking about. So give you the opportunity more than anything to really ask any types of questions now. At any point in the training, you have a question, just write it in the chat box and I'll answer it at the end of the training. We have about 2 hours together and my goal today is to really answer any questions contextualized to where you're at in your Facebook ad journey. And that is really my goal today. My goal is to get you to stop boosting posts. So if you're running ads right now, I really want you to stop boosting posts, and I want to show you the methodology and how to actually run a successful ad campaign. So we're going to be going through step-by-step process today on how to set up an ad campaign, specifically with an ads manager. The next step where we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to be talking about a little bit of theory. So first, we're going to focus on boosting posts. The next step is we're going to focus on one avatar and one offer, what that means for your business. We're finding that we're working across multiple sectors, and the one avatar, one offer is working across multiple sectors. It's the idea that you need to have one offer and you need to have one target audience and you need to speak to their pain points. And I'm going to dive into that today. Then what we're going to do is we're going to be going through Facebook lead generation, and you're going to be watching a step-by-step process of me actually setting up a campaign and what that specifically looks like. And then we're going to be diving into targeting and how to set up good targeting and what that looks like, and thinking about the one avatar, one offer in order to set up that targeting. And then I'm going to take you through how to retarget traffic today, really high-level overview. Everyone's at a different spot in their journey. And then we're going to end the day today with conversions and targeting, and then a Q&A. So we have about a couple of minutes. I'm going to jump probably right into the training at 1:05 because I realize that people are on time constraints today, and we have from 1 to 3 today, and I really want to provide as much value. So like I said, use the chat tool today to ask any questions, and then I'm going to open it up at the end of the training. But like I said, because this is a paid training, I do want to wait for the people. There's about probably 2 or 3 people that need to join the training still. So we'll wait a few minutes with them specifically to make sure that they are taken care of and they get on this training as well. Yeah, so Neil is just making me aware of meeting ID. That's just no problem. Just give me 1 second here, guys. There we go. There you are.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, so like I said, we're sitting at 105 now. Biggest thing what I wanted to do is I want to start with why to stop boosting posts. And the reason that I really want to go through this today is because in the industry, what I see happen often right now is a lot of people are boosting posts and they're just giving Facebook money. They're really funding Zuck's private island. And it's interesting because, in the past, what I've chatted with people, and what they often say is like, I've tried Facebook, I didn't get any leads, or I didn't get any results from my Facebook ads. I just really got brand awareness. And really my goal today is to really provide you the knowledge in order to get you some, mini results, whether you're in the real estate sector, whether you're in jewelry, whether you are whatever you're doing. We had other people register for the training as well, but it doesn't look like they've showed up yet, but they'll get a copy of this training. And within boosting posts, what it does is it optimizes for reach. And that's great, but it doesn't actually find the people that are likely to take the action you're looking at doing. So if you're really trying to attract leads into your business, you need to set up a lead generation campaign. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly here, and I'm going to take you through kind of a high-level overview on what essentially this would look like. So in the chat box, if somebody can tell me that they can see my screen, specifically on the Studio PTBO, you should see the Studio PTBO homepage. Somebody could either speak up or just confirm that they can see the screen. I'll wait a few seconds here for somebody either write in the chat box or tell me that they can see my screen here. I'll just ask Sean here. Neil, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so awesome, they see it. So oftentimes when people are running ads, the first place that they start is they start with boosting posts. Now I'm gonna take you through kind of high level overview on what boost a post does. So sometimes when people click this button, there's two things that I'll notice when I click this button. Essentially, there's two options. What are the results that you want to get from the post? So people will either, I see a lot of this running right now where they're running, direct call to messages, get people to message you, or they'll run a post engagement here. And that post engagement, essentially all it's optimizing for is post engagement. And it's really just driving people to like, share, and comment, but it's not actually optimizing to get a lead. And what does a lead look like to you? A lead looks like to me is I want them to give me their name, their email address, and their phone number because I want to reach out to them and I want to nurture them. And the whole purpose of getting leads is to actually create an ongoing conversation and to essentially mine data from Facebook and essentially take that data, get them into a CRM, which we call a customer relationship management tool, and then start that ongoing nurture. So today we're going to talk about lead generation. We're going to also talk about lead nurture. So you can see here, there's different ways that you can change this, but this is really the way that most people are running their Facebook ads right now. And then they'll change the actual audience and they think that they're running good ads and they get comments. And I see this happen often in the real estate space where they'll do this. They'll get a ton of comments on the post, but they don't have anybody's information from that post, even though that 30 people commented on the post. So the way that you actually attract leads on Facebook is you need to run a lead gen campaign. So the first mistake that a lot of people make is your ad may not run specifically. So this ad, for example, this is an ad, but because it has more than 20% text on the actual image, this is the image, the ad probably won't run. So that's something to keep in mind when you are running your ads is you want to make sure that there's less than 20% text on the actual image. And the reason that being is because Facebook will not run the ad as efficiently if there's a ton of text in the image. They prefer that the text be in the physical text box there. So that's just something I really want you to remember is when you're running ads, these types of poster ads, if you're running an actual ad campaign, they don't work as well if you're just running a photo with a little bit of text and then running all your text or what we call your sales copy in the actual copy section of the actual ad itself. So when you're actually doing a post. So the first step in something I really want you to get here today is boosting a post. Don't do it unless you're optimizing to get reach. If you're optimizing it in front of people, boost post, go ahead. But there's still even a better way to do it. So if you typed in into your top corner here, if you typed in Ads Manager is going to bring you to a section that essentially is going to give you, so like for us, for example, being an agency, we manage multiple ad accounts, but your ad account would be right here. So our studio PTBO ad account is like, when you click on this, it would bring up a section, and then you would only have one ad account because you're probably only running one account. But this is what we call business manager. So this actually gives you the ability to actually run an ad campaign, and it gives you the ability more than anything to optimize for leads and optimize for lead generation. So within Ads Manager, what's going to happen here is you are going to see a bunch of different what we call ad campaigns that we set up. Now, within the ad campaign, before we actually jump into actually setting up a Facebook lead generation ad, something I really want to talk about today is I really want to talk about one avatar and one offer and what that means within the online space. So there's a gentleman by the name of Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson, he has created a SaaS platform called ClickFunnels. And ClickFunnels is a platform that allows people to create a series of landing pages that takes them through a sales page. So if you're selling stuff online, whether you're trying to attract leads for homes, ClickFunnels is a great tool. It's a great lead generation tool that allows you to create sales pages. And there's other places out there like Lead Pages, but his actual book he wrote is called .com Secrets. And the whole premise of the online space is to have one avatar and to have one offer. And the reason that you want to have one avatar and one offer is because within the online space, you really want to get the person on the opposite end of the actual computer to be like, that's me. And how you do that is you speak directly to their pain point. So what we always say whenever we're creating ads is there's 5 things we really want you to think about. We want to get you to think about the avatar's problem, what the symptom of that problem is, what's the fear that they're facing, what are the things that are keeping them up at night. So if you're in the real estate space and you're selling to couples, what are the things that they are facing? If you're selling jewelry, for example, what are the things that the people that are proposing to their significant others, what are the fears that are keeping them up at night? What are the problems, the symptoms, the fears? What are the cause of those fears, and what's the solution? Like, what's the offer that you're going to give them at the very end of the day? So I'm going to take you through kind of like a high level overview of ads that we have running, a funnel that we have set up that's working really well for us. We're averaging about $8 per lead on our ads, and a lot of them are actually converting into new clients. So I really want to take you through a high level overview today and really help you understand what it means to have one avatar and one offer. So your one avatar may be, for us, it's real estate professionals in this. So I'll use this as real estate professionals as an example because it's a funnel we have set up. So if you have a real estate professional, what are the things that they are facing on a day-to-day basis? So what are their pain points? They're probably tired of cold calling, relying on inconsistent referrals, door knocking, spending money on print advertising without seeing a return on their investment. These are all things that real estate professionals face on a daily basis. And what you want to do is you want to create an offer that speaks specifically to their pain points. So so before you can actually set up a lead generation ad campaign, and before we take you through the high level overview of how to do this and how to set up a lead campaign, the first thing that you really need to think about is, who am I trying to speak to? What are their pain points, and what is the offer that I'm going to give them in order to provide that solution? And there's other things that go into actually creating ads, like creating good sales copy and creating good content. But the biggest thing, if you can get if you get one thing today in this training, something that I would really love for you to really understand is to change the way that you do marketing, in the sense of like, who am I trying to speak to? What is their pain points? What are the things that keep them up at night? And how can I provide a solution to that problem? If you think of some of the top businesses in the world and what they do and how they essentially run their businesses, is that they're providing a solution to a void in the marketplace. And more than anything, what you really want to think about in your marketing and how you present your business in an online space is you want to really think of yourself as like, how can I talk to one specific person? And Russell Brunson in the past has taken a lot of flack for this in the online space, even though it works. And I take a lot of flack for this in the real estate space, because they're like, well, what if I want to sell to multiple people? I totally understand that. I really want to set the context for today's conversation, because setting up a sales funnel doesn't necessarily, and just because you're running what we call paid traffic to a specific avatar doesn't mean that you can't have multiple sales funnels set up. It's the issue within the online space that a lot of people forget is they try to do vanilla marketing and they try to talk to so many different people when they're trying to talk to a vast amount of people, and then no one is listening because of the fact that they haven't honed in on who their actual avatar is. So in all of our paid traffic that we do, specifically, all the money that we spend is specifically spent towards real estate professionals. And the reason that we do that is because we get lower cost per leads, and people actually click through on our information because we're talking specifically to the pain points that they're feeling in the moment, the cold calling, the relying on consistent referrals. They're going through all these emotions in their head, and we're providing a solution. We're providing free real estate training. So what I really want to challenge you with today is think about ways that you can provide a solution. So a great way to attract leads, and what we say is you need to have a value proposition up front. And that value proposition needs to either be some free training that you're going to do. It could be a PDF download. So it could be like if you're trying to sell homes to people between, like couples in the Upper West Side, then you want to think about how can I provide them a solution to what they're facing in the moment. Or if it's, say for example, you're targeting people that are, men or women that are getting engaged. How can I provide them a solution? Maybe it's 5 tips on how to plan for your wedding, or 5 tips on how to plan for your wedding, your engagement ring, and how to fund that engagement ring. So these are all things that you need to think about in your marketing before you can actually set up your ad campaign, before you can actually run lead generation ads. Is you need to think about what is the offer that I'm going to provide to the people that I'm trying to speak to. So there's an easy tool. There's a few ways that you can create these PDF resources, and they're what we call evergreen pieces of content because they can run for a really long amount of time. So within our real estate lead generation, what we do is we did a real estate training course with an 8-week course. And that's essentially what you're learning over the next 2 hours is this course that we've done for business owners in real estate training. I'm compacting it into 2 hours and trying to give you as much value as possible. And what we do more than anything within having an offer is like creating a PDF of some sort. Either hiring a graphic designer to create that PDF or doing it on a program called Canva, but creating some sort of PDF that you can give to someone on the back end before you run paid traffic. And I really wanted to chat about this more than anything because your ads are only going to be as effective as what your offer is. If your offer sucks and people don't like it, or if people not even necessarily don't like it, they don't think it's for them, then all the money you can sink into Facebook isn't going to work because you need to have a clear defined avatar and you need to have a clear defined offer. So I think, if I could beat that home today, to really, after the end of this training, to really sit down and take about an hour and think about who do I want to speak to? And then what is the offer that I want to present to them, and what are the pain points that they're facing? Like I said, the pain points. Think about the things that keep them up at night. What are their fears? What are the problems? What are the symptoms? What's the causes of those fears? And then what's your offer that you're going to present to them? So I'm going to switch gears into Facebook lead generation and actually how to set up a lead ad. And at any point you have a question, just write it in the chat box today, and I can actually answer any questions at the end of today's training. But we're going to switch gears into Facebook lead generation and how to actually set up a lead ad. So what we do when we're setting up a lead ad is there's this little button right here called create. So when we actually create the lead ad, if you may say, essentially what we do here is it's going to bring up a page right here. And there you can see on your left there's campaign, ad set, and ad. Now there's a focus when you're running a lead ad to what we call cold traffic. And what we do more than anything within our lead ad is there's 3 layers of running an ad. There's your campaign, which is essentially your objective. So what is the objective you're trying to reach when you're running this ad? And then the next set is your ad set. So that is really who's your audience, what are the placements you're going to run on the actual ad, and then what is your budget and your schedule. So how much are you going to spend in order to get these leads on a on a daily basis, on a monthly basis? How much money are you going to give Facebook in order to get the data that you're looking at getting from Facebook? And for today, the sake of today's training, there's so much Facebook ad training out there. We're partnered with the top 1% of Facebook marketers in the world. We're in Cat Howell's Academy course, and we work with the top Facebook ad agencies and ad contractors in the world. But when you're looking at Facebook ads specifically to generate leads for your business, obviously the best thing to do right here is to run what we call a consideration ad in the lead gen. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is we're going to be talking about lead generation and how to generate leads for your business. So when you're in this section, right now we're in the campaign section of the actual ad campaign. Now what we're going to do is we are going to click lead generation. Now, if this is the first time that you have ever ran a specific ad on Facebook, and you've never set up a lead generation ad, I want to go before we get too far into this. I want to talk about theory, because I want to make sure that you name these campaigns properly. So there is within your ad setting, and when you're running ads, when you're creating what we call a sales funnel, and essentially what that means is we're taking people through we're taking the customer online through a journey. So there's a thing we call top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Now, when you're running a lead generation ad out of the gate and you're running it to cold traffic. So when I say cold traffic, what I mean by that is I mean people who have either A, never heard of you, or B, they might have an idea who you are, but they have never seen your offer before. So if you've never ran an ad before, everyone pretty much, unless they're a client pre-existing, if you ever run an ad before, everyone's top of funnel. They've never seen this solution that you're providing. So when we're running an ad, we always start with top of funnel. So I always label everything top of funnel, and then for the sake of today's training, we're going to use real estate as an example. So we'll use real estate trading, because that's essentially the avatar that we have defined in our sales funnel right now. We're also running a ad campaign for nonprofit, but for real estate, we'll use this as an example. So you have your top of funnel, you have your real estate trading. I have my clearly defined avatar, my clearly defined offer. I have that all built out already on the back end. So that's the homework essentially for today, is for you to figure out what your avatar and what your avatar is and what your offer is. The next thing we do is campaign budget optimization. This is something new that just recently came out on Facebook ads. This is something that you definitely want to run, is what we call CBO, and essentially just optimizes your budget per different ad set. And I'll take you through on how to do that, but we're going to stay high level right now. So we're going to optimize the budget across ad sets. So you got to figure out what your daily budget is. So we'll use $10 a day as an example. You'll know what your budget is. In order to get results, in order to get a good amount of results, you have to kind of do a little bit of research on your industry. The industry average for us to get people on a call, to get real estate professionals on a call, is about $60 to $80. So I can spend about $60 to $80 and get a real estate professional on a call based on how essentially how I set up this campaign. But we're getting leads on the front end of the funnel for about $8 a lead, $6 to $8 a lead. Because we're getting their name and their email address and their phone number. So you got to figure out, how much do I need to spend in order to get the result I'm looking for? So if you're in the real estate space, the best thing I would say contextualized to real estate is start running lead generation ads. So start doing what I'm doing right now on your listings, because you can pick up a ton of names and information and phone numbers just by running what we call listing lead gen. But today we're focused on Facebook lead generation. So create an avatar and an offer, and then run ads that way. So the next thing that we're going to be running in here is we are going to essentially click continue. And then it brings us to this page. So I'm actually going to go back to this last page really quick. Just to speed up time, I always recommend copying the campaign name, because right now we're at the campaign level. And now once we click next, we're actually moving into what we call the ad set level. Now the ad set level, essentially what it does is this is where you're going to choose your targeting. So for us, essentially, this is where we would essentially run what we call multiple ad sets. So where we change out the audiences that we're targeting. So if I want to target real estate professionals in Canada and I want to sub-segment the conversation, I can do that. And so I'm going to take you through how to essentially do that. So within my ad set name, I have my top of funnel real estate training, and I'm going to put Canada here. So now I'm targeting just real estate agents in Canada. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to change my location and make sure my location is Canada. And then from there, I have some saved audiences in here, real estate plus broker. So, but in order to do that, say for example, I wanted to target real estate professionals. What I would do here is I would type in some detailed targeting. So I would choose real estate there as business and interest in the industry. And then I might add in, I might narrow down my audience. And how I've done that here, we're going to go back here. Yeah. So this is the one we're running right now. So yeah, I've changed employers. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose in my detailed targeting, I'm going to go real estate. I might type in moving as an interest. I might type in HGTV as an, not an employer. You got to make sure that you choose that as interest. We'll go HGTV as an interest. And then you want to add as many as you can. But the mistake that a lot of people make is when they're running their ads, they just choose as many interests as they possibly can. And Facebook's having a hard time in order to actually physically find out who you're trying to speak to. So you want to do a little bit of research on your avatar. Like, what are the things that they're looking? So real estate professionals might be into HGTV. They probably looked into moving at one point. Finance might be an interest. So what are the interests? And then how I dig into that even more is I narrowed down my audience. So essentially what this does, if you see, I've actually clicked this button right here. So narrow audience. And what I can do now is I can type in information in regards to job title. So real estate broker, real estate, type in real employer, real estate broker again. I'm looking for job titles, realtor, real estate associate. So anyone that matches this, they're going to find the interest, but it also must match everything that's in here. So, and then from there, what I can do is once I have a defined audience, I can actually save this audience. So you can come back to it. So I can name this audience, I'll name it top of funnel, real estate. And then just so I don't get lost when I'm going through and setting up my ads, I will say trading audience, just so I know exactly specifically what I'm doing. So I got my top of funnel trading audience. So I now have that set up. And then if like in the future, if you come back and you set up another ad set, you can actually just find your top of funnel real estate trading audience. So you can click through that. So that's how that gets set up there. So this is your audience. So now so we started with your ad set name, which is essentially your ad set is your audience that you're targeting. We chose the audience and the next piece is when we're running lead generation ads, I always recommend just leaving your placements as automatic because we want to reach as many people as we can. But Facebook's automatically going to search for people that are likely to give you their name, their email address, and their phone number. So it's going to really find those types of people. Now, another thing you want to be aware of here is you can see my audience size is kind of low for Canada here. So obviously my targeting is not the greatest. It's fairly broad. So if I actually go to what I have, you can see right here, that's a bit better. 340,000 people. That's a little bit better. So this is a little bit better of targeting. So you can see along the audience size, the specific is not a bad thing if you're trying to reach a small group of people, but I know that the audience size for realtors in Canada is fairly high. So if I'm only getting 20,000 people, and I know off the top of my head that there's 500 plus realtors just in Peterborough alone, I know that I'm not targeting the right people. So there's some training on your own that you have to do when you're running an ad campaign and some background research on who am I trying to target. Like we said, whenever you're running a Facebook ads, there's two elements. There's your essentially your art, which is your creative. So, how am I speaking to that specific person? And then there's your targeting, which is your science. So it's like a science plus art equal leads. And that's essentially what we say to our clients that we work with. So the next portion that we're running when we're running ads is the campaign optimization. If this is your first time running a Facebook lead generation ad, or even if you've done it and you haven't seen any success, it has nothing to do with the optimization and spending control. So just leave them the way they are. That's more for advanced Facebook ad specialists that want to essentially, outbid people. Now, the interesting thing about the optimization for ad delivery is we're optimizing for leads already, but we don't really want to change this anything in there because we're optimizing for leads. So the next element where we're going to go to is we're going to go to your actual setting up of your ad. So what I always do, and I'm actually going to go back one here, sorry, because I missed something. I missed the dynamic creative, is in the top of funnel, you want to make sure that this piece right here is turned on. And we call this dynamic creative. So this is actually in the ad setting. And the reason we want to do that in the top of funnel is because it's going to allow us to test multiple, what we call headlines. And it's going to allow us to test multiple texts if we want to. So I'm going to take you through today on how to essentially run this ad more than anything, and how to set this up on the back end. And then once we're done this portion of the training, I'm going to open it up for any questions. If there's any questions, then we can kind of work our way back. But I really want to get through this portion of the training, and then we can work backwards. So essentially what we have now is we have our saved audience. We have our automatic placements all set up. We have our optimization is automatically set up there as well. And we also clicked off our dynamic creative, and we're just targeting people in Canada. So I'm actually going to go in here. I'm going to remove this. And we would just be targeting Canada, but I'm not going to change this because this is a pre-existing audience that I'm running, but this is the ad. So the next is we would click continue. And from here, now we're in our ad name. So again, I want to make sure that this is all clear. If you have your Instagram connected, you want to make sure that it's running on Facebook and Instagram. So you can actually run your ad campaign on Facebook and Instagram simultaneously because Facebook owns Instagram. So this is how you would set that portion up. The next piece here is you would want to find your media. So I always recommend testing a little bit of video and a little bit of video and a little bit of text. Images. So how you do that is we'll just use images for the sake of this portion of the training. I have a bunch of already, created ads. So I can just click on a bunch of stuff here. So we'll find just a bunch of different, and a guy yelling into a phone here. But this is where you would upload your images. Frustrated realtor there. So this is all the creative we have running right now. We have a few other ads running. So this is all our creative. So you can see here, this is all how the creative is set up. So this is where you add your image. And if you wanted to run a video, generally what I would do is and I'm going to show you how to do that next once we get back into the main settings of your ad campaign, is I always recommend doing images separately in your top of funnel from your images and your videos, split them up into different ad sets to see what one is working better. But essentially what we have here is we could actually have up to 10 images in dynamic creative. So Facebook's going to go through, it's going to not only find the people that you're looking for, it's also going to shift out the different images based on what they're most likely to click through on. So you're testing multiple images and you're running them across the board. The next element, what you want is you want your primary text. Now, within your primary text, essentially that would be your, what are you saying to your avatar in order to get them to click through and give you their name and their email address? So essentially what we would do here is I'm going to go back into my this because I'm going to grab some copy that we have running right now that'll essentially show you what I mean by that. So let's just choose this one here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to bring it back over into our last section here. So you have your primary text. So this is my copy. So my copy essentially says free training. What if you could instantly fill your calendar with leads without having to knock on doors, attending every networking event, rely on inconsistent referrals, and even eliminate print advertising that can't be tracked for a return on your investment, and the print material, and so on and so forth. So I've clearly identified who my avatar is, and I've clearly identified what my offer is. My offer is my free real estate training. But in order to get the free real estate training, they need to give me their name, their email address, and their phone number. And then from there is I can either manually follow up with them. And this is a whole nother thing. Like you got to figure out on the back end how that's going to be all set up. And today we're just going through Facebook ad training. But the other element is like, how do I take those leads and then automate my conversation going forward? And that's a totally other conversation that we can have in the future. But today, this is setting up Facebook ads. So what we have here is we have our click to download. So if you look here, I have my actual training link actually set up in my Facebook instant form. So what we have now is when we go in here is now we have to change our headline. So you can see here how this is white. There's nothing here. We now want to make sure that we have our headline set up. So I always, in my lead generation, I test multiple different headlines. So I have 4 running right now. So I could copy paste that free training, automate lead generation. I could click add and I could add another one. I can have up to 5. So you can add, like what I would recommend is I would recommend having your primary text, keeping that as 1. And then I would have your headline and test multiple headlines and see what ones are working, what ones aren't working. And you can do that through the analytics and I'll show you. But dynamic creative is great because it gives you the ability to test multiple things rather than just testing one specific thing and getting results quickly. Like I said, if you're a realtor, run lead generation ads on your listings. I'm telling you, you will get a ton of people that are looking at essentially, they will give you their name, their phone number, their name, and their email address in order to see a home. It could be something along the lines of, let's go see it. You put all the information about it, then you run a lead generation ad to a booking form. You will see some results. It's crazy the results we're seeing just on listing leads. So the next thing is you want to have your call to action. Now, when you're running, we're finding what's working really well right now within Facebook lead gen is your call to action, making it a download button. So you can see here, there's a ton of different options, but if you're providing a free PDF, free training, a book download, 5 tips, anything like that, I would always say download. We're finding that we ran a lot of what we call split testing, side-by-side testing, and we're finding that the download button is giving us the best results rather than doing like learn more or any other thing. So I would say download as your option. The next element that we're going to move into is how to set up an instant form. So what the instant form essentially does is it gives you the ability to essentially create a form and get all the information that you're looking at getting from the said person. So what you would do is you would actually click a new form, and I'm gonna click duplicate because I'm gonna take you through step by step. So this is essentially what your page would look like, and essentially what we would do here is we would name the actual form. So this would all be blank when you're actually running through this training. When you're actually setting up your lead gen ad, but you would essentially just click on the create a form. You would create the form there. I always say here, you want more volume because we want to get more people to actually fill out the form. So you can actually create multiple forms. And I'm going to take you through how to set up multiple ad sets after we're done this portion, after we essentially will publish this ad. What you're going to do here is you have more volume. You have then your intro, which is optional, but I always have some sort of intro. So choose more volume and then go to intro. And then it says your headline is simply submit below to get instant access to the training. So if you've created a PDF, essentially your thing would be simply submit below to get instant access to our free book, for example, or free access to our PDF or whatever you're giving for free. That's essentially what you would do. Or if it were, for example, for a listing, it would be simply submit below and we will reach out to you about seeing this home, for example. That would be your lead generation ad. Your layout now is essentially just a quick little message saying, I hope that you get a lot of value out of this training. Feel free to email me after you've downloaded the training. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So that's your intro. So this, you can change that up to whatever you want. Your questions is where they're going to fill in their information. Now, the more information you have, the more information you ask for, the less likely they're likely to give it to you. So I always recommend running side by side. And what we do is we run side by side a first name, last name, email, and a first name, last name, email, phone number. So we run multiple ad sets. And the reason that we do that is because I want to see what one's going to outperform one another. So this one, just to show you as an example, is first name, last name, email address, phone number. So I can actually go in and I can text them if I want. So with a listing lead gen, I would highly, highly recommend doing first name, last name, email, phone number, because you can essentially manually text them. So if they give you their first name, last name, email, and phone number, you could text them right away once the lead comes in. And when the lead comes in, you can be like, hey, like, when do you want to go see that home and what home are you looking for? And that'll show up and I'll show you how to download that afterwards. So that's the information. And we're going to go through ad sets. Like, I know I might be going a little fast. You will have an opportunity at the end of the training in order to ask questions. But the biggest thing that I really want to get across today is you will also have an ability to watch the replay today. So you'll be able to go back through it. So the next element is the privacy policy. So on your website, if you don't already have a privacy policy, I recommend having one. But you need to have a privacy policy whenever you are running lead gen ads. So this is where your link URL would go. Ours is just studioptpo.com/privacy policy. And then your final is just your thank you screen. And this is essentially where you would take them in order to get the training. So for me right now, I have what they call a ManyChat bot set up. And that's like, we're not going to be able to get through that today in the training. Because that's like a whole nother thing. But this is essentially where you would store your offer. So if your offer, for example, is to get a free download of the training, you could upload it to Dropbox. You could put it on like some sort of host where you can essentially just put your website link, and that's where they can download the free training or the free PDF or the free book. If it's a listing lead gen, what I would do is I would link them directly to your website and say, hey, I'll be in touch soon. And in the meantime, check out either, if you have free training, check out free training or free PDF in the meantime, or send them to your website and say, take a look at some of the homes that are available in the market. But I would drive them specifically somewhere. And then you could say, download free training there. So in the thank you screen, there's your headline, thank you, your training's on the way. Your description is tap below to visit our video training on attracting more leads using paid advertising. As soon as they click this button, it brings them to the training, and they have the ability to essentially, now I have their information, so I can reach out to them. I can send them an email because I have the right to now send them an email because I have their information. If I have a CRM, I could put them in my newsletter. If you have a good understanding of how to use a customer relationship management tool like Infusionsoft, Salesforce, you have Top Producer if you're an agent, LionDesk, you can actually put them into an email sequence to nurture them on the back end. That's something I would highly recommend doing. So that's essentially how you would essentially create a form. And you would just click save and it would be good to go. The next element, you want to make sure that if you have a pixel installed on your website, now that we're moving into this, the pixel is for tracking. So at the end, before you click confirm, there's going to be a tracking option. Now, if you have, I would highly recommend getting a pixel installed on your website. It's fairly easy to get it installed. I'm going to show you how to do it really quickly, just a high level overview. Essentially what you would do is you would go into you would type in pixels in here, you would click the pixels and it would bring up the Facebook pixel page. So it would bring up this page, and this gives you all the traffic that's going to your website. So you can see all your page view. Now, in order to set up the Facebook pixel on your website, there's two different ways you can do this. You can click details, and you can click set up at the top right corner there. You can either install the pixel yourself, so you can manually install the code yourself. So you click that button, and then you would copy that code there. The other option is you can email it to a developer. So if you have somebody that works on your website on a regular basis, you can actually just email the instructions to your developer and they can install that pixel. And what that pixel does is it tracks all the traffic that goes to your website. So if you're doing any other type of marketing, whether it be you're doing marketing through the radio, through print, any integrated marketing strategy you have, if they land on your website, you can actually remarket to them on Facebook and Instagram. And any other platform, because Facebook actually has the ability to run when you choose automatic placements. So if we go back to here and we go back into your audiences, if you notice we hit automatic placements, that then has the ability to essentially run ads to any other place that person visits. So for example, I'll give you a funny example. I had somebody message me the other day and say, I saw Studio PTBO on Tinder. We're not actually on Tinder. What they were seeing is they were seeing an ad because they are on that platform. They saw our ad. So that's essentially what audience network is. If they visit TSN, for example, there's a potential that if in the audience network that your ad will pop up on other websites as well, because you're retargeting them wherever they go. So that's how you set up a Facebook pixel. You literally just copy the code and install it into the header of your website. Again, that's a little bit more in depth. If you have any questions, either contact your developer, or contact us, and we can help you get that set up. Now, within the training, so essentially what we would do from there is after the pixel, if you don't have a pixel installed, you can just leave it off. But if you have a pixel installed, I highly recommend doing that because that's important for conversions. You need a pixel in order to do the conversion. That's what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes, is how to set up retargeting and conversions. But I don't want to go too deep because I want people to really understand this lead gen stuff. And the people that were supposed to jump on the call today that paid didn't show up, so we won't go through that. And now, so essentially what we do is we would then move it, and we literally just click confirm. So you confirm your items, and this essentially would publish the campaign. And then once this is all set up and all ready to go, essentially you'll see it running as a draft. So you can see it's in draft. It's waiting to get published right now. And your ad, your real estate training, would pop up right there. So this is your top of funnel, your real estate training. You can see your budget is $10 a day. If I click this bottom arrow, you can see this is where this is my campaigns. This is my ad sets, and that's my ads right there. So they're all right there on the left side. So what we do now is if, say for example, we wanted to run Canada and US side by side, that's in the ad set level. So what we need to do is we need to click just this specific one here. We then need to go over to the left and we need to click ad sets. Once we click ad sets, this is essentially the ad set that's running. So if we wanted to test multiple audiences, run them side by side, we want to make sure that this one says Canada. So this ad set says Canada, which it does already. That's the ad there. So want to make sure that we have the ad. So there we are there. What we do here is we would click duplicate. And essentially we would click original campaign. So we want to run a duplicate of everything that's in the original campaign. We would want that to essentially grab all the information from the campaign we just set up and essentially duplicate it and target just the US. And this is an example. And then I'm going to show you phone number versus no phone number and essentially how to do that. It would be the same thing. Your ad set is your audiences. So you click duplicate. And then from here is I would change this to the United States. I would scroll down and I would just literally get rid of everything but the United States. I would save as new. US. Type in US real estate training, just so I know specifically that I don't want to use this specific ad in the future, because we're just using this as an example. So everything's pretty much all set. Like we don't have to touch anything because we're just running Canada versus the US. So we're just going to literally click publish because the ad is going to say exactly the same. We're just running it in two different markets. And we can do the same thing with if we wanted to target real estate agents and any type of audience. So say for example, we wanted to run the same type of ad to, we wanted to try different targeting. We could do that as well there. Any type of targeting is in your ad set level. So you have your campaign, which is your real estate training. That's checked off there. So you want to make sure, because if you see it, the campaign's not chosen, because if I go down here, it's just going to show me all my ad sets. So if I just want to see that specific ad, I need to click that on the campaign level. And then I need to go to ad sets here. And you can see now I'm running real estate training in the United States and Canada. And what I can do is just for the sake of showing you. So say for example, this was with phone number. So I would make this ad Canada with phone number. And I can make this United States with phone. Because that, remember, when we were in the ad level, what we were doing more than anything is we were choosing specifically whether we wanted to gather their name, email address, and phone number, or just their name and the email address. Now what we can do is we can actually go in here. We can click duplicate. This brings us to, so this is our Canada ad set. We go duplicate. And then from there, what we have is we have our top funnel real estate training Canada with phone. It's copy. So we're going to actually remove this because we're going to name this email only. We're then going to go into the ad level, which I'm already here. So we're going to go to the ad level. We click that down there. We then scroll down. We want to keep everything exactly the same. The only thing we're changing, the only thing we're testing is we're testing the actual use without a phone number. So what we would do here is we would create lead form. We could actually, because we've already created the lead form in the past with the phone number, we could duplicate the form and we could go like that, free real estate training with phone number. We would go free real estate training, and then we could go email only. Then we would go to our questions, and we would actually, it would just be there. So we would have to, like in the past, it would be the phone number would be right there. We would just remove it. So say, for example, the phone number was there and we duplicated it. To get rid of it, just click the delete button. And then now you're just asking for your first name, last name, email. And then we would essentially just click save and you'd be good to go. So we'll use, this is just the lead form with just the email address there. We click publish. So now this is running as well. Now your ad set level within lead generation is going to set your budget. So if I go back here, I'm going to show you really quickly because each ad set that I run, I'm adding to the budget. So that's something you have to think about. It's like, what's my overall total budget that I have per day? So when I go back in here, I have my ad sets running. They're all in review. I believe we budgeted $10 a day per ad set. Let's go back in here. Campaigns. Yeah, because we chose campaign budget optimization, it's going to be $10 a day just for the entire campaign. So from here now, we have 3 ad sets. Now it's essentially, they're going to split the $10 a day between these 4 ad sets. Now the next thing I'm going to do is now I have my Canada email only. Now I need my US email only. So I can click duplicate there again. And now what I can do is I can go United States and I can go email only. And again, I need to go into my ad here and I need to change my download option. I need to make sure it's only with, it doesn't have the phone number, it just has the email. So what I would do is I would click create lead form. I would choose it. I would go in here and I make sure it just says email there. And then I would save it and then I would be all set up there. So I want to make sure that's only email. Boom. I click publish again. Now, when you're looking at the actual ad set itself, so once we're done here, because we've actually physically, in our campaign level, we have our top of funnel real estate training. And then in our ad set level, we are running 4 different ad sets. So we're running them all against each other to see what one performs the best. So I have my top of funnel real estate training in Canada with the phone, top of funnel real estate training United States with the phone number, my top of funnel real estate training Canada email only, and then real estate training United States email only. So I am running them side by side, and what I always recommend is leave it for about 7 days because you need enough information coming from Facebook in order to see what is working and what isn't working. So I use a pre-existing ad as an example. So this one right here, we're paying $15 a day for this ad. We're averaging $8.07 a lead. What we have running right now is we're running a real estate plus broker, with Gary V, and then a real estate plus broker, Gary V with phone number. So that's just like a photo of Gary V. and we're targeting people who, and then we have our lookalike audience that we were running as well. We're finding that these ones are running the best. And it's interesting because we're actually getting better results when asking for phone number in this campaign than we are with this campaign. And we're just asked for email. So we're being charged $7.80 a lead, and everything's exactly the same versus $6.60. So there are some times where things just don't make sense, but the data is the data. And that's the biggest thing that you want to look at, is you want to look at what are the results you're getting. You know, if you're creating a clear avatar and a clear offer, if you're getting leads that are coming in between, you know, $5 to $20 a lead, that's fairly good. You know, and then in listing lead gen, you know, we're seeing leads come in between $3 and $10 per lead. If you're running ads on listing leads, they're fairly inexpensive to get leads and get information from people when you're running an actual ad on a lead gen for a listing. Any questions so far? I'll let you post them in the group chat if you do. If not, I will keep moving. Okay, so we have our campaign level. So this is the one we've set up, the top of funnel real estate training. You can see if I click this button down, that shows me all of the ad sets that are running, and then all the ads that are running, which is we're just running the one ad specifically for all of this. So we talked about targeting, and the next thing I really want to go through is that's really how you set up a lead gen ad. And what I would really highly recommend that you do is you go back through this training and you have this maybe on one monitor, and then you take yourself on another monitor and how to set up the training. You just watch the training side by side while you actually set up your own Facebook ad lead gen, because I think that what'll happen more than anything is it'll help you really understand you know, the proper buttons to press when you're running through the actual ad itself. So I hope that is super helpful in showing you essentially how to set up a lead ad and how to look at the campaign, the ad sets, and the ad setting. I know this is a lot of information, but like I said, we're trying to compact as much as we can in 2 hours that generally we would do over 8 weeks. So your top funnel is all set up now. Now, what we call middle funnel is retargeting. So Facebook actually gives you the ability to retarget people who watch a certain amount of a video, or for this sake, if a lead comes in, we want to retarget them. You know, we want to retarget leads maybe with a testimonial, for example. So if you have a testimonial from a client, this is a great way to actually retarget the leads that are coming in that gave you their information, and then run testimonials. That's actually what we're doing. So you can see here, we have testimonials to calls that are running right now. So we're targeting all of our traffic with testimonial videos. So Marilyn asked, where do you set up the number of days that the ad runs? Great question. So let's go back in here. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go into an ad set, because the ad set is where you would choose the number of days. So what we chose here is we chose a start date, but we actually didn't choose an end date. So we chose an ongoing ad campaign. You could actually schedule. So when you're in your ad set level, there is your dynamic creative, your budget, and your schedule. So when you choose your budget, you could actually end it on a specific day. You would just choose the date you want to end it on. I always recommend just running it ongoing. And then just going in and shutting them off if you decide that you run out of budget. We find that's the best way, because last thing you want to do is to hinder a good ad that is running, that is getting you leads. So I recommend, if you're running ads, and all of my Facebook ad specialists, they go in and check the ads every day to make sure that they're running properly. So I recommend going into your ad account every day and checking to see if there's any leads and downloading those leads if they come in. But that's where you would essentially choose the number of days that your ad runs. So you can either run it continuously. So it says don't schedule end date, run ongoing, or you can end run on a specific day. That's what you would do there. We're going to publish draft items. Okay. So that's how you do that. So the next element that we would be running through in our ad training is we're going to move into retargeting. And retargeting, essentially what that does is, say for example, a client gives you their email address. So before we actually go into retargeting, I do want to show you how to download your leads because that's super important. So lead comes in, you're like, okay, how do I get my leads? What you do here, I see I have 66 here. So what I would do is I would drop down here. I would click the drop down button, and it would then show me that it's broken up by ad set. So I need to download this, what they call the CSV file from each specific ad. So I would click the download button, the down button again. It would find the ad that's running. I would click this button here. It would download my leads for me. So I can choose to download them from like 28 leads. I can either download the link from a CSV file or an Excel spreadsheet. There are ways to automate this through a program we call Zapier, where it'll zap the leads to either to your email. It'll zap your emails and your leads to either your CRM or put it in a Google spreadsheet automatically. But again, for the sake of time today, we're not going to go through that because that would take a long time to go through. But the program is called Zapier. So if you find that you start getting results and you're like, I can't handle all these leads that come in, look into a program called Zapier. But this is how you would download them: either your CSV or your Excel file. You would click that button right there, and you can see that it's downloaded right there. And then I would just drag and drop them wherever I go. That's how I download my leads that come in. Now, our leads are automatically zapped to our CRM, so we have to do that. But if you're doing some of this stuff manual, that's how you would do that. The next step and the next thing we want to go through is we want to go through retargeting. So retargeting, like we always say that, like, you know, if you have a clear audience and a clear offer, then you can get tremendous results. But there's an interesting stat that says 15% of people are ready to go right now. 35% of people need to be nurtured over a 90-day window, and then 50% of people just never buy from you. So that's why it's super important on the back end to retarget people with ads. So when a lead comes in for the first time and they give you their name, their email address, and all that information, you want to talk to them through email, and you also want to retarget them on Facebook with another ad, and you want to show them something different. So it might be a testimonial, for example, and we call that middle of funnel. So in your top of funnel, it's your cold audience. Your middle of funnel is what we call your warm audience. So they've given you their information. They've given you you've got something from them, and they've got something from you. And then your bottom of funnel is that warm, is that really hot, ready to buy audience. They're ready to go, and they're ready to go with you now. And you can set this sales funnel, this sales journey that you're setting up in Facebook ads is all done online through your ad sets. So what we do now is when we're setting up a custom audience, what we're going to do is we are going to essentially set that up, and here we would type in audiences in the top corner, and then it would bring up an audiences section. So you can see here, it brings up Ads Manager, and then from there, you would choose, like, make sure you have your right audience. So we scroll down, Studio, make sure we have that there. Okay, awesome. Now we're in the Studio PTPO page. You can see here, these are all the ads, the custom audiences. So a custom audience is a retargeting, is an audience that you're retargeting. So they've either engaged with your page, and I'm going to show you essentially on the screen here all the custom audiences that you can create. So your custom audience here, these are all the ways that you can retarget people. And for the sake of today's training, I'm going to show you how to set up a retargeting of the leads that come in and how to talk to them, either through creating a video saying, hey, I noticed you took a look at, my 5 tips on how to do this, we'd love to chat, yada, yada, or it might be a testimonial video. And these are all different ways that you can set up your sales journey. So I want to take you through a high-level overview, and then we're going to show you how to actually retarget a lead form that comes in. So there's different sources of traffic. So you have your website traffic, which if you have a pixel installed on your website, you can actually physically run retargeting to that traffic. So what you would do is you would click the website traffic, and you would find your pixel, all website visitors, and then we'll get into your custom conversions a little bit later today, potentially, depending on time. But the biggest thing is retargeting. So if you have a pixel installed on your site, you can actually retarget people that visit your website. So if you ever went to a website before and then all of a sudden you get hit with a retargeting metric, and then you're like, say for example, you were on Home Depot's website and all of a sudden you get an ad for Home Depot, what they're doing is they're doing basic website retargeting, and they're retargeting you where you are, and how they're doing that is through the Facebook pixel. So the only way to do that, if they go to your website and to retarget them, is you need to have that pixel installed on your site. You would just name the audience and you click create audience, and it would go. And I'm going to show you specifically today on the custom audience of how to retarget a lead form. So if somebody gives you their name, their email address, their phone number, or their name and their email address from a specific avatar, like a specific avatar, specific offer, they downloaded your offer, they gave you their name and their email address, we can actually retarget them now. So what we do is we choose the lead form. We choose the page that we're managing. Oh my goodness. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. So we choose that there. So it's anyone who opened this form, which is what we want to target. But we can actually go even more micro. We can actually target people who opened the form but didn't submit it. So this is great if you create a quick little video with your iPhone saying, hey guys, I noticed that you were about to download my 5 tips on my 5 training, but I noticed you didn't get an opportunity to do that. You can actually retarget people who opened the actual form but didn't submit the form. So they opened it, they meant to give you their email address, but they didn't actually submit it, and you didn't get their data. So you can actually retarget those people. And then you can target people who opened and submitted the form. I like to do anyone who opened the form because this is great retargeting, specifically if you have testimonial videos that you're running. So if you have a person that is saying, it was amazing working with Sean Handa, and this is why, or it was amazing to work with Megan, and this is why, that's a great retargeting metric that essentially allows you more than anything to run retargeting to people that already have their information. It's building what we call authority in the online space. So that's a great opportunity to essentially choose the specific form. So what we're going to do here is in the retargeting, we're going to find the form. So your forms that you created are going to pop up right here. So we would choose all the forms that we want. So we just make sure that they're chosen. Boom, they're set to go there. There are the 2 forms that you created, one with email, one without. You name the form. So you would just name the form. I think I already have this set up. Yeah, lead ad form real estate August. So just name the form. Just say lead ad, and then who is your target audience? Real estate, for example. And you click create audience. Once you click that button, it looks like this. Boom, you're ready to go. Lead ad real estate. It'll take a few minutes to populate. Now, how you actually physically set up a retargeting ad, and we're going to go through that as well. Say, for example, you have a video testimonial. You want to retarget people who watch, who have actually given you their email address, because you got to remember now they're technically almost in the middle of funnel now. So you can now retarget them and get them on a phone call with you, or get them to come into your office or book a call. And that's really in the middle of bottom funnel. When you're setting up a minimum viable funnel, what I would recommend is there's 2 things out of the gate that I think that everyone on this call can get set up for themselves. Is create some sort of offer, like some sort of PDF download, and then retarget them with some testimonials. And that's what we call a minimum viable funnel. So you got their name and their email address. That's the first one. So that's the first ad you're running. And then you're retargeting with them with testimonial videos to get them on a phone call. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's 2 levels, 1 level of targeting, 1 level of retargeting. So lead ads, real estate, that's all set up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back here, and I'm going to show you how to essentially run a middle of funnel ad with that specific ad set that we created, or that specific audience. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click create. And then from there, we're going to create new campaign. Again here, we're probably going to run another lead generation ad campaign because depending on where you are in your Facebook ad journey, regardless of where you're at, if you're doing this for yourself and you're a business owner, I recommend keeping people on Facebook, because Facebook doesn't like people going away from Facebook. So keep people on Facebook, get their information directly there. So if you want to book a call with them, and that's kind of the focus, and that's what you want to get them, you want to get them on the phone, or you want to get them in person with a meeting, just run another lead generation retargeting campaign. So click lead generation again. And I would name this middle of funnel, book a call. Choose your daily budget, maybe make it $5 a day. Whatever your budget is, you'll know. And then what we do from here, do the exact same thing. Campaign, we have our ad set name, middle of funnel, book a call. We got to make sure we choose the right account. So I got to find that here. There we go. Studio PTBO, middle funnel, book a call. And then from there, we would choose our targeting. Now, this is super important when you're retargeting, because you want to reach these people wherever they are, because they've already given you their information. So people who open the form. So when we're retargeting, we're actually going to change our location to worldwide. Because say, for example, somebody's traveling, we still want to reach them, even though they're traveling. So it's going to now find anyone, anywhere in the world. But how we go down into targeting, make sure we're not just targeting everyone in the world, because that's not going to work, is we're going to click on our custom audience, and we're going to find that audience that we just created. There it is right there, lead ad real estate. Obviously, there's no information available because we don't have any leads yet. But say, for example, we were running one. So I'll show you one we're running right now. It's going to find reach, still unavailable because I just started running this ad, but yeah, we use this one. Yeah, still not giving me information, but that's essentially what you would do. You would find the custom audience, and it might not show audience size, which is fine because it's a retargeting ad, but we're running it worldwide. And the reason that we're doing that is so that we hit people wherever they are. So if they're traveling, they're still going to see your ads in retargeting, because they gave you their name, their email address, and potentially their phone number. Now they're going to get hit with either you talking to your phone and uploading it to Facebook, or they're going to get hit with a testimonial video. Very simple retargeting. We're going to choose this here again. You don't need to save the audience because it is a custom audience. It's already been saved. Placements, automatic. The reason you want to keep those automatic is because you want to hit them wherever they are on Facebook or in their audience network. So if I click on, just so for sake of showing you, if I clicked on edit placements, these are all the placements that it's going to run. So the biggest one that I was talking about earlier was your audience network targeting. So it's expanding your reach with ads in external apps and websites. So any external apps that Facebook's partnered with, they will essentially run your ads there as well. So that's why I say automatic placement specifically for lead gen ads, because you don't know where the lead's going to come from. They could be on a specific other website, and then you could capture a lead from them because you're running their ad really anywhere. The actual information that you're gathering is great in the targeting. So just hit them wherever you are, especially when you're running a middle of funnel ad, because you want to hit them wherever they are. Next element, you're going to click continue. It's going to bring you to your ad identity. And again, we're going to go and do that middle of funnel, book a call. There's your Facebook page, your Instagram account's connected. Again here, if you remember, we're not going to do dynamic creative here because we're just going to run one specific ad itself. So this is either one specific video or a testimonial of some sort to get people to really help you build that authority in the space. So like I said, in my opinion, if you want to set up a really minimum viable funnel, get a testimonial from a client or do a quick video saying, hey, would love to chat with you. That will most likely work for you. But your top funnel will get you some leads if you think about who your avatar and what your offer is. So what I can do here is I can actually I can add a video. So I'll show you as an example. You can either click upload a video, and that will essentially bring you to a point where you will choose a video from your library, or if you already uploaded it to Facebook, it'll show up here in your account or on your page. We'll just use Mark Million as an example. He's a client that we recently launched a campaign for. Just a quick video that we recorded. And then you could just write what did they say in the video? Like in quotations, Glenn was amazing to work with, or Studio PTBO got me the results I was looking for. Quotations. and put his name. And then your call to action could be, book a call with the team at Studio PTBO by clicking the link below, by clicking the book now button below. And that's going to drive people to essentially click the book now. And then you're going to make your headline. When you're running retargeting, you have to come back to the reason why they gave you their information to begin with. So I might even in my text, you really want to think about your sales copy. If you are tired of door knocking, cold calling, and relying on inconsistent referrals, book a call with the team at Studio PTBO, click the link below, book now button below, and then it could be time for a new marketing plan. And then that's, put that there. We change it from sign up we can change it to book now, because the call to action is to get them on the phone. And yeah, just take a portion of whatever the testimonial that your client gave you, put it into a quick video, get them to give you a quick testimonial. And then from there, we're going to go into the instant form. I've already created one of the book a call because I'm doing this. We're practicing what we're preaching. We're doing this. I'm on calls every day with real estate professionals across North America. And you essentially just go duplicate. And either there, or you create the new form. If you don't have a form already created, you just click new form, you fill it in. So you make it book a call. Book a call. Okay, I can write. More volume. Again, you just write in your headline, your layout, you type in your questions. Again, now here is going to be a little bit different because we're booking a call. I'm going to actually go into my book a call section and I'll click duplicate. So what are my questions? Again, I need my first name, my last name, my email address, and my phone number. Now, if you don't have booking software, which we do, so our thank you screen actually takes them to book the call because we have booking software. What you're going to want to do in your questions is to essentially add another question. So maybe I want to ask them a question to make sure that they're a right fit. So, a question could be, if you're a real estate agent, are you currently working with a real estate agent? Because why would you want to get on the, you might not want to get on the call with that specific person if they already have a real estate professional and they're under contract. And these are all different things that you can ask when you're setting up your retargeting to get them on a call. It could be what day works best for you? It could be another question that you could ask, just in a short answer. So you could type in the question, but just keep in mind, the more fields that you add, the less likely they are to fill it out. So what I would do in this book a call section is I would go first name, last name, email address, phone number. And then unless you have booking software, I would manually follow up with them. Send them an email, send them a text message saying, hey, when would you love to meet? Looking forward to chatting. Here are a few times that are available for me. Do either of these times work? And then you put the ball back in their court to essentially set that up. But I highly recommend, if you don't have booking software, make it easy to get their information, to know that they want to get on a call. But don't make it so hard that they're not going to fill out the form. If you don't have booking software, our booking software essentially eliminates some people because we have a survey that you have to fill out to get on a call with us. But that being said, what I highly recommend doing is first name, last name, email address, phone number, doing a manual follow-up. And again, in order to do the manual follow-up, what you will need to do is you'll need to go listen back to the training where I showed you how to essentially download the leads, and that's where the leads will pop up. So essentially what we're going to do now, just to show you essentially what this would look like. This is all set up. We have our book a call. We would click confirm. And it's going to bring us to the section here in a second in the middle of funnel. So the middle funnel is now set up here. So we have our $10 a day. And then we have our $5 a day budget here in the middle of funnel. So this is our top of funnel, which is the book a call. I apologize about that. Somebody's calling our studio right now. Hopefully somebody picks up the phone in a quick few seconds here. And the phone is picked up. Perfect. So we have our top of funnel real estate training, which is our one campaign we're running. And then we have our middle of funnel, which is a book a call. So if you get anything out of today, like just kind of recap a little bit before we move on, is the biggest thing that we really want to focus on is we want to get one avatar, one offer. So that's in your top of funnel. And you want to essentially create some sort of downloadable resource that will allow them to give you their name, their phone number, their email address. And and that's really what you're after. That's what a lead, and that's how you attract leads, is give them something of value in order to get something in return, which is getting their information off of Facebook into a database that allows you to essentially build your email list. The whole purpose of lead generation is build your email list. So if you hear one thing today, I highly recommend, if you're going to run paid advertising on Facebook, build your email list. It's this thing that will help you in business. If Facebook ads ever go away or they become too expensive for small business owners, you will have an email list that you can sell to. So build your email list, build your client list. On average, our clients are getting anywhere between 80 to 150 leads per month that they're getting, people giving information to them in the real estate sector. Not all of them are converting, but they're getting an average of 2 to 5 new clients a month, which is great. Biggest thing I would say is create an avatar. Who are you trying to speak to? What is the offer that you want to give them? And then that's what we call your top of funnel ad. So this is essentially going to get you in front of those people and get you to give you their name, their email address, their phone number. Your middle of funnel, so essentially what we're doing is we're setting up a targeting campaign and a retargeting campaign. Your middle of funnel is either going to be you talking to a camera. So it's literally just going to be you with your iPhone or whatever phone you have, and you're going to be saying, hey, notice that you had an opportunity to read the training. We'd love the opportunity to chat with you, yada, yada. You can do it that way with your phone. You upload that video and you run the retargeting that way. The other option is you get a client to give you a testimonial, and you ask them some questions around what it was like working with you. Were they hesitant about working with you? What were the results that you got them? So on and so forth. Make it as personal as you possibly can, and then take that testimonial video, drive them to another lead generation ad that is essentially going to give you the ability to get them on the phone or get them in person and close them as a client. So we call that a minimum viable funnel. So one layer of targeting, one layer of retargeting. So the layer of targeting is going to be your offer, which is your audience and your 5 tips or your book or your training or whatever you want to do. And this is going to run on a cyclical cycle. So you're going to literally run this as long as you can. I've been running the real estate training for the last 4 or 5 months. There's that element. And the other element that you're going to be doing is a retargeting, which is what we showed you today, to book a call. So that is Facebook lead generation. I'm going to open it up for some questions in probably about 10 to 15 minutes to wrap up the day. But the next portion of what I want to go through is I want to go through setting up different conversions on your website because I think this will be valuable for people that are using a website currently and they don't have any tracking set up on their website. So that's really what I want to do. So before you get to this point, you need to have a pixel installed on your website. But this is going to show you essentially how to track different buttons on your site. So this section, we are going to go back into our Facebook pixel. And when we're in here, if you remember that in the Facebook pixel, we had the overview. So you would essentially, we'll reload this, you're going to click details. And if you remembered earlier that you would click setup, you're not going to do, like that is to set up the pixel to make sure it's running on the website. What you're going to do is you're going to open up the event setup tool. And this event setup tool is going to allow you to track specific pages on your website. So say, for example, you have a contact page and you're really wanting to just retarget people on that visit your contact page. with a testimonial to get them back to that contact page or get them to a Facebook lead ad, this is where you're going to set up that tracking to make sure that on the back end, you're just targeting those people. So your pixel is going to target everyone that goes on the website, but this is how to set up tracking on specific pages of the site. So we're going to use the Studio PTBO contact page as an example, because I think that will be the best example that we could possibly give to you in this training. So we're going to go to Studio PTBO. We have some tracking running on the page. Now, how to see if your pixel is installed properly on the page is Google Chrome has an extension called Facebook Pixel Manager. It's a Chrome extension, it's free, and it gives you the ability to see if your pixel is installed. So you see this little blue button on the top right corner. You can see that there's one pixel found on Studio PTBO. So this is your page view, and then that's, don't worry about that. That's what we call a schema. It's a lot to get that installed, but we're just doing Facebook Pixel. So the Facebook Pixel and the page view, it's tracking all the traffic that's going on our website on any page. Now, if I want to specifically set up tracking to a specific page, how I do that is I would go into the Pixel. I'm actually going to load up my contact page. I copy that. I'm going to go in here, and it's going to open the website. Now, when it opens the site, now you're going to have to do this on Chrome. You can see here on the top left corner, it opens up the event setup tool. Now, the event setup tool essentially allows you to track either specific buttons or track the URL. So if you want to track page views, you can do that. But the other option, the other thing that you can do is it shows you all the events. So if there's a specific, like we have specific events set up on different pages, we can actually track this send button. So we wanted to track people clicking the send button, we could do that. And that's actually what I've done specifically with this page. Or if you want to track the URL, I can essentially create I can create what they call an event. So I could make this, let's go in and make this initiate checkout. I could make it, what would make the most sense on a contact page? Let's go and, yeah, well, let's do schedule. We'll make it a schedule. I'm already tracking contact on this page. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna delete this and then we're gonna do it again. Okay, so we're gonna track URL. We're gonna select an event. And then from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose what event we wanna track. So this essentially can track the specific page on my site. Now, what I wanna do here is I wanna find something that, well, yeah, we'll just do contact because that makes the most sense because it's contact the Studio PTBO team. And it's just targeting the traffic that's going specifically to this URL. So we're gonna click confirm. Now we're officially tracking the contact page on this URL. We click finish setup, finish, and then it's set up. Click cancel. And we can actually test the events now because we want to make sure that the event is set up properly. We go in here, we click open website. It's going to tell me here in a second. There we go. So it's not just tracking page view, it's tracking contact. Now, if I were to want to run another conversion ad, say for example, I'm driving them specifically to my page and like they landed on my contact page, they most likely, this is to retarget traffic in your funnel that is in your integrated marketing funnel. So this is more or less to get people to contact you. Specifically, if they landed on your website, they were about to contact you and they didn't, this gives you the ability to retarget them with an ad. I would say take that same type of testimonial style video and then run an ad to that testimonial style video and run what we call a lead conversion ad. So how we set that up, and I'm gonna go through this high level really quickly. You can watch this back. And if you have any questions, we're gonna open it up in the next few minutes for questions. But what we would do here is we would go back in and because they've already landed on my website, they have a good understanding of what I do and they landed on my contact page, I might consider this bottom of funnel. But this is gonna be conversions. So because what I want to do and what I want to happen on the actual page is I really want them to take that action on that specific page. So I would optimize for conversions. So I'd go bottom of funnel, conversions. I'd make my budget. Maybe it's $5 a day, whatever your budget is. I'd click continue. Now this is where things are going to change. So now you can see this in the last section never actually opened up. There was no conversion because we weren't tracking for conversions to happen specifically on the page. So this is choose where you want to drive traffic, then select the pixel, an event to track the conversions. So now we want to specifically drive the traffic to that specific page, but we want to make sure that we're tracking when a conversion happens or when people are actually landing on that page. So what we do here is we want to specifically find our contact. Okay, there we go. 4 events received. So, and what's going to do is it's going to optimize delivery for your ads to get the most out of these conversions at the lowest cost. So it's going to optimize the conversion to happen and people to go back to that page for the least amount of possible. So what we want to do now is we want to essentially want to set that up. We want to set up our audience. Now, specifically, that's set up for conversion, but what we also need to set up on the back end in order to make this happen is we need to set up an audience of your pixel. So if you have a pixel set up on your website, what that is going to look like, we're going to essentially create the custom audience, website traffic. We are going to target specifically all website visitors. People who visited specific pages. And then what we would do here is that's the page that we're targeting. And then we can name this the contact page. Now we're creating the audience. Boom. So that's all set up to go. So now what we can do is we could target now the custom audience. We would type in contact page. Again, because it's a retargeting audience, which is a custom audience, what we want to do here is we want to change it to worldwide because whenever you're retargeting, it's just going to find the people that actually land on the site. And we want to make sure we target them wherever they go. We're optimizing for conversion. We want to get them back to that page. We're running a custom audience specifically of people that have landed on that page. The next element that we're going to move to is our ads. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to click on that. We're going to choose our video. Essentially, we would do this exact same thing. Choose the Mark Billion video, use it as an example. Type in all the information that we would essentially need in the actual ad itself. Your primary text, your headline, your description, your website URL. Again, we're driving them back to this page. So we're literally going to take that, preview that URL. That's where we're sending them. So everything needs to be focused on that contact page, is getting them back to that page. So, and then we could click learn more. Maybe it's book now, and I would run them side by side. And how you run them side by side and test these things is through your ad set level. And then you would just click confirm. And that's essentially where your ad would drive to. And that's how you set up what they call a custom conversion for your website. Next is, let's go back in here, Ads Manager. We're gonna leave this page. I know I went through high level overview on that. That might not make sense. And if it doesn't, just watch it back a few times and it hopefully will make sense. If you have any questions, let me know. But now really what I want to do is I want to open it up to questions. I want to take the next half an hour and do a Q&A specifically around any questions you have, specifically around your Facebook ads journey, and essentially how I can help you tailor any of your questions specifically to what you're facing now within your Facebook ads journey. But if there's one thing you get today, if I could talk about the one thing is stop boosting posts, because all it's doing is optimizing for reach. It's not optimizing for lead generation, which in any type of service-based business, we rely on leads to come in to feed our business. So everyone on this call is looking for leads. They want people to give them their name and their phone number and their email address, and they want to turn them into a client. So the focus is, the homework that you have is create one type of audience, figure out what that audience is, and create an offer of some sort, like 5 tips, 5 downloads. The next element that you have is to create an offer. So, your 5 tips, like I said, The next element after that is your retargeting. So you have your top of funnel targeting, you have your middle of funnel, which is your retargeting with either you talking directly to a camera, or the other element that you would do is you would take that, you would take a testimonial video from a client and you'd run that in your middle of funnel and then drive them both in lead generation based ads. Third element was kind of an extra bonus is conversions. We could jump into so much more, but really what I want to do right now is open it up to any questions. We'll go around the room, I guess, kind of room, I guess, and I'll answer any questions. So I'm going to unmute Sean. Sean, did you have any questions? Maybe not. Megan or Marilyn, do you have any questions in regards to Facebook ads, how I can help you in your Facebook ads journey? Anything that you learned today that didn't make sense that I could dive into a little bit deeper? Awesome, Mary Lynn and Dave. What kind of question can I answer? I have unmuted you. You answered my question, Sean, about duplicate ads. Okay. I've unmuted you, Mary Lynn, and you should be able to talk there, and I should be able to answer your question. Or you can type it out. I'm going to stop my share here for a second to make sure. Oh, don't know if I can hear you. So we'll move on. Megan, can I answer any questions for you around Facebook ads? I know Mary Lynn and Dave have a question. I just can't hear them. Here, let me check something really quickly just to make sure. Okay, so I guess we're gonna type it instead.
I could ask one here.
Okay, perfect.
Can I ask one, Cody?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. You brought up earlier, it was curious to me of how you did a test on one and you got more phone numbers than emails. Like that I find really fascinating because to me, phone numbers are a gold mine as far as being able to call and text. As you know, you and I talk about that all the time. You want to get a client on text and it's very personable. So why do you see that happening, that someone's willing to give out their phone number more than email now? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or
I don't know if I really have any thoughts. Like, you know, the biggest thing that like everyone in our ecosystem says is test and learn and see what works and what doesn't work. You know, if I look back at that ad we were running, like it was super interesting because I actually had a larger reach on the ad specifically without the phone number than I did specifically with the phone number. I don't really know if I have an answer specifically for that one. I guess my answer to the question is, you know, test and learn and see, you know, test multiple things. There's so much that you can do within Facebook ads. And the biggest thing that I can say specifically with that is like phone numbers absolutely are a gold mine, especially if you're a real estate agent. You know, if you can text them, which a lot of our clients are doing that, like if they are doing this manually, they're getting the leads and then they're texting the lead or they're picking up the phone and calling the lead. You know, and it's absolutely a gold mine. So if you can run ads side by side and figure out what is working and what isn't working, I would say run them side by side and see what one works, what works and what doesn't work. But the phone number is gold mine.
Yeah, I agree. Great idea. Because a lot of people just assume you can only get email, like that at the very least, maybe we'll get an email. But nowadays, I find people in general are more willing to give out their phone number than ever before.
Yeah, you'd be super surprised in how many people are willing to give out their phone number. I think especially because of the fact that like with like listing lead gens, to capture people's information. I think that with when you're talking about real estate more than anything, in the real estate industry, like I'm finding like the clients that we're running ads for, people are just giving up their phone number left and right, and it gives the realtor the opportunity to get on the phone with them or text them and say, hey, what, do you want to go and check out this property? And a lot of times what's happening in the real estate space, which I find really interesting, is the people that are giving you their phone number actually don't have a realtor yet. They're not under contract. We're finding that happen a lot. So people are missing out. So like in the real estate industry, people will post, they'll boost the post, they'll get like 35 comments, and they're missing out on the opportunity to sell those homes because they're not reaching out. They're most likely not reaching out to you. But if you get their email address, their phone number, you then have the right to reach out to them. They've given you that right through giving you their information. So it works good. Now, Dave did have a question. He typed it out. As a retail store, can we not use both boost post and lead generation? Sometimes we just want to tell an audience that there is an event here or a new line. Okay, so that's a great question. And my answer to that question is I still wouldn't boost the post. And the reason that I wouldn't boost posts is because if you go back in, I'm going to share my screen here again. And there are better ways to essentially optimize for reach. I would still use the ads manager. And the reason I would do that is because if you look at the options that you have, your awareness, we find that optimizing for reach is better than optimizing for brand awareness. Because like if that's the focus and that's kind of what you're after, is you just want to get it in front of as many people as you possibly can. There's a thing what we call CPMs. The CPMs on CPMs is like cost per 1,000 people that are reached. The CPMs on reach are a lot lower than brand awareness. And when you're running a boosted post, all it's doing is optimizing for brand awareness. It's not optimizing for reach. So we always push for reach when we're running an ad, like a marketing objective. It's great. The issue is you want to tell an audience that there's an event here. You can do that. The issue being is like, sure, they heard about it, but they didn't take an action. Like, why wouldn't it be better for them to hear about it and get the opportunity to give you their name and their email address about that event? I would still run a lead gen ad specifically for an event because it's going to send it to people that are most likely to give you their name and their email address specifically on the event. I think same thing with the new line. Like, this is just a different type of sales funnel to give them something for free. But again, I would most likely optimize in that circumstance. So say for example, in your retail store, you could run the boosted post if you wanted to, but the better way of doing it is boosting again is just optimizing the reach. So my biggest question for you is, where is the information? Are you trying to drive them to an Eventbrite? So if you're running an event and you're trying to drive an Eventbrite, my recommendation here, rather than running a boosted post, is I would run a traffic campaign. And then in that traffic campaign, I would drive traffic to my website or drive traffic to a landing page of some sort. So that's what I would do if I were you. I wouldn't necessarily, because if the focus is to get them to the event and it's an Eventbrite that you created, you need to get people to the Eventbrite. So you need to optimize for traffic to head to your website. So I would test and learn the different consideration metrics. Reach is the only time we ever use reach, to be honest with you, in an ad campaign is in retargeting. And the reason that we do reach and retargeting is just to build authority. I generally don't use the reach metric unless we're retargeting an audience. Say, for example, they've given me their email address or they visited my website already. It's more of a means. You got to remember that these people that you're talking to at the very front about your event or your new line, they most likely have never heard about you. So you need to start the relationship. You got to think about them as a cold audience. So they've never heard of you. So you need to build the relationship online, unless you're retargeting an email list. which you can do on Facebook. But that being said, if it's an event, run a traffic campaign. If it's a new line and you want to give them more information about the specific line, run a traffic campaign to your website. That's what I would do. I would still stay away from boosting a post because you're just not getting enough out of your targeting. And then I'll show you one really quick thing here within your traffic. You just driving traffic to your website. So that's probably what I would do if you were to run an event or you were to run traffic to a new line. And engagement is another one. So say, for example, you want event responses, maybe run an event response campaign. I would really get acquainted with the back end of the marketing objective, because you said, why shouldn't I boost a post specifically to tell an event that there's an event happening? Because Facebook will actually deliver the information to people that are likely to actually show up to the event. So that's kind of my answer. If you're running an event, either run traffic to run a traffic campaign, or run an event campaign, like run an engagement, and then optimize for event responses. So essentially it says engagement can include comments, shares, likes, event responses. So if I want to get them to an event, I would do it that way, or offer claims. So if I have an offer, I would do it that way. That's what I would do. Are there any other questions that I can answer? I hope that answered your question there, Mary Lynn and Dave. Sean, you said you were good. Megan, I haven't heard from you yet. Any questions that I can answer around Facebook ads, around any of this? Okay, we're all good. And we got some responses. And like I said, if you guys have any more questions around Facebook ads, I will send you a copy of this recording via email, so you'll be able to download it off of Dropbox. I'll send you a download link so you can actually rewatch this replay and kind of go through step by step process on essentially how to set up a campaign. I'll go around one more time and ask if there's any more questions. If not, we will commence the training for today. But everyone will get a copy of the specific training. You can go through the training. There's, like I said, exactly, Marilyn, there's a lot of info. You have to watch the video a few times. We try to compact essentially 8 weeks of training that we do with real estate professionals and business owners, and we try to condense it all into 2 hours and with some Q&A. And I really want to contextualize today. So before we end today, biggest thing for homework is watch the video, set yourself up one avatar, one offer. So really create a clear avatar. Who am I trying to speak to? Is it real estate professionals? Is it women between the ages of 30 to 35 that are parents with kids? These are all things that I would highly recommend. Megan, just shoot me a message with the pixel. I'll be able to answer that. But the biggest thing that I would say is really think about who your avatar is, what your offer is, set up your top of funnel campaign, and then retarget them in the middle of funnel with your either testimonial or your video, you talking, saying, let's hop on a call. Biggest thing I would say today is do not stop boosting posts. Use Facebook Ads Manager to set up your ads, because you will get a ton of value out of that. Like I said, get acquainted with Ads Manager, because it'll change the way that you run ads and it'll change the results that you have within your business. But I thank everyone for jumping on the call today. I will send everyone a copy of today's training. And if you have any questions in the meantime, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And hopefully we get the opportunity to work together in the near future. And I hope you guys all have a great day, and we will see you soon.